I titled today's conversation Mind Map, Observing What You Imagine as It Appears. Today we're talking about practicing awareness of thoughts, behaviors, and emotions to reveal what we are believing to be true in our day-to-day experiences. Now this is very helpful for knowing what path we're taking in life, which is paved by our life experiences. Another way of saying this is as James Allen stated in The Heavenly Life. He said, "The secret of life, of abundant life, with its strength, its felicity, and its unbroken peace, is to find the divine center within oneself and to live in and from that, instead of that outer circumference of disturbances." So let's go a little deeper into this. The divine center is your awareness of being, from which you are able to calmly observe the different experiences you are having each day on the journey to realizing your visions without being disturbed by them. This means you allow yourself to understand how you are relating to each experience, or we could say what we are imagining in relation to each experience, and adjust our thoughts and behaviors accordingly. From this divine center, you can accept it the way it is, change how you relate to it, or do something different, or a combination of the three in some shape or form, easily and naturally, because you're operating with awareness from your divine center of clarity. This holds the key for both realizing your vision and also mind purification. Mind purification being releasing identification to beliefs not true with how you truly desire to be. This is the form of active meditation, where you're highly aware while also being deeply engaged, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually with each moment of each day. Now, I know many people who I would consider very spiritually advanced become this way through practicing this through art, entrepreneurship, and even hobbies. For example, I used to have a Yamaha R6 bike a while back, and I used to hang out with a lot of bikers. They used to share highly spiritual ideas with me without studying what could be considered as spiritual information, although they may say things differently, proving we can learn spiritual ideas from information and also personal experiences because God is everywhere. So now, operating from your divine center is also being in your flow state, where if any seeming challenges were to appear, you can in that moment see having unfiltered mental access to infinite intelligence within, transmute those challenges into opportunities. This is because at each moment of each day, we're standing on our own acres of diamonds, as there are opportunities everywhere, as far as the senses perceive, and they're easily revealed from your divine center, where you can intuitively imagine from the infinite scope of possibilities the ideal opportunities into existence. These opportunities that were always there are revealed as you remain oriented from your vision in an effortless way by remaining in the divine center. So again, if something shows up that seems to throw you off your divine center, acknowledge that it does not, for the cause that spawned into existence is actually inside, and by acknowledging that you already are in your acres of diamonds now, it releases identification to that causative belief and transmutes the seeming obstacle into a clear opportunity. Now, this way of thinking was also inspired by the famous Acres of Diamonds speech by Russell Conwell, which he wrote in 1869 while he was traveling. Russell Conwell was a Baptist minister and a lawyer. He was also the founder of Temple University in Philadelphia through many millions of dollars he earned while traveling and giving his famous Acres of Diamonds speech, inspiring many in the process, including myself, having read it in 2007, 138 years later. The story goes that there was once an African farmer who heard tales about other farmers earning many millions by discovering diamond mines. These tales excited the farmer so much to the point where he sold his own farm to dedicate the rest of his life wandering Africa, searching unsuccessfully for diamonds which he never found. Meanwhile, the man who bought his farm happened to be crossing a small stream on the property one day when he noticed a flash of light in it. He bent down and picked up a stone, which was a good-sized stone, and having admired it, he brought it home and put it on his fireplace mantel as an interesting curiosity. Several weeks later, a visitor came to his home, picked up the stone, looked closely at it, and nearly fainted. He asked the farmer if he knew what he found. When the farmer said no, explaining that he thought it was a piece of crystal, the visitor told him that he had found one of the largest diamonds ever discovered. Now the farmer, having trouble believing that, told the man that the stream on his property was full of such stones, not as large as the one on the mantle, but sprinkled generously throughout. It turns out that the farm the first farmer had sold so that he may go out and look for diamond mines ended up being one of the most productive diamond mines on the entire African continent. The first farmer had owned, free and clear, acres of diamonds, but he sold them for practically nothing in order to look for them elsewhere. So now, if only the farmer who owned this farm was in his divine center, oriented from his vision, he would have seen them clearly through that lens, which is not to say that riches could not appear elsewhere. It's to imply that wherever one appears to go in this world of appearances, that is where they are in mind, and one who acknowledges their own mind as the true acres of diamonds sees opportunities wherever. So it seems that the farmer was not embodying prosperity consciousness, for wherever he went, it seemingly would not appear. And perhaps he did come across opportunities for diamond mines during his travels in Africa, yet it did not appear that way because he had not accepted he was already prosperous inside. For further elaboration on prosperity consciousness, I'll link to a recent video in the description where we discussed it. So the central lesson I glean from this story is that we need not look elsewhere for opportunities. All the resources, energy, and opportunities to achieve all that we desire is presently here and now in our mind. And from this acceptance, you are able to easily spot opportunities in the current environment. The opportunities reflect wherever we are, like the diamonds that reflected the light on the property. I like how it was said in one of the translations of the Emerald Tablets of Thought. The light within you shall cause the light in these tablets to respond. And this is why I believe it's important to acknowledge that infinite opportunities are available for you right now. Doing so, you don't need to look for seeming proof or validation or any appearance for that matter to prove it to you. Everything shows up automatically without looking for it because you are prosperous now. That's because you are complete and already have it all inside. All that matters here is that you acknowledge that each moment you are standing in your own acres of diamonds wherever you are, beyond the appearances, because the acres of diamonds is actually your mind. That's the Garden of Eden, the richest land that has ever been known since Genesis. See, you have a conscious aspect of mind and a subconscious aspect of mind. What you consciously plant in the subconscious aspect of the garden of your mind, from all the diamonds that already are available to you in imagination, the unseen power within your mind, some way, somehow, takes that and externalizes them as physical diamonds of opportunity scattered all throughout this world of appearances. We simply allow it to happen by living in and from the divine center. The key here is giving reality to the imaginal cause in mind, an effect to this world of appearances, and not the other way around like one might have been taught when it comes to prosperity. The reality is you are prosperous now, for the divine center is the cause and phenomena of life appearances. As James Allen also once said, at the center of our being is the music which orders the stars, the eternal harmony. See, it's all within, as stated in the Bible. The kingdom of heaven is within. It's not true to believe that the cause is outside here. Some say this is giving the power away. And as I like to say it, it is subconsciously imagining the power to appear out here, to reflect the cause within, which reminds me of another wonderful book by Prentice Mulford called The God in You, published in 1918. So God is beyond and also in your Garden of Eden, and through that appearing in symbolic form as outer expressions of that all-wise and all-loving infinite power within, like the burning bush to Moses, providing the spiritual understandings found in Scripture, or as mentioned earlier, a form personalized for you. Nevertheless, the world is inside. This world of appearances is a reflection from the kingdom of heaven within. He states, there is supreme power and ruling force which pervades and rules the boundless universe. You are part of this power. You, as a part, have the faculty of bringing to you, by constant silent desire, prayer, more and more of the qualities, belongings, and characteristics of this power. Every thought of yours is a real thing. What then is your mind dwelling on now in any matter? What kind of life and results are you making for yourself in the future? So then we observe from the divine center that we are having our life experiences now. And we're also imagining how we relate to the experiences. And every now and then, as applicable, we can acknowledge that we are right now standing within our acres of diamonds, which is the reality of our mind. And we don't have to remind ourselves of this all the time. Only as applicable if we find ourselves dwelling on something that is not ideal to our vision. For example, I've been brought into a bunch of sales organizations lately, and they have very refined sales systems. I wasn't brought in to modify them. They're actually already quite refined. What I was brought in to do is facilitate what we are discussing here with their sales reps. As they're going through the steps outlined for them prior to the calls, during the calls, and after the calls, they are at any moment either imagining a win-win deal with the prospects or assigning the power so it only appears as a win-lose or lose-win or lose-lose kind of way. It is in this moment where we bring awareness to how the power is assigned and adjust accordingly. And the simple repetition of doing this again and again forms the habit of remaining in their divine center, which increases their sales numbers. This is because people, information, environments, and circumstances mirror our beliefs, and there's nothing to stress, shame, condemn, or fear about this. We simply, in the moment, release identification to those beliefs in mind while carrying out the initiative, and it changes. It is the dwelling in those unnecessary beliefs that cause the unnecessary suffering when it comes to relating harmoniously with others, because consciousness is truly one, as we discussed in Sunday's video, which I'll link to in the description. Yes, it appears as a theater of your personal self and my personal self, which is fine for the theater of life experiences that we enjoy. It is still one at its core, echoed all throughout the ages by the Illumined. Thus you are one with all opportunities, relationships, and resources now. The only reason why it could not appear that way is by request. A subconscious request perhaps. A belief that suggests that one does not have immediate access right now. And I would say that that's an unnecessary belief of separation when it comes to prosperity. You are prosperous now, and you are one with all forms of prosperity. You see, the unseen power brings into existence whatever is subconsciously believed as true, as all power is given to you, as in the personal self, to bring into existence whatever you desire. So what are you imagining? This is what's determining what appears next. So now let's bring this all together into a simple application that I do, and you can do as well, on the journey to realizing your visions. Number 1, take any activity, whether it's a task, project, art, hobby, or whatever. The goal is to apply this for 25 or 30 minutes, and then you can take a 5-minute break. If you do 25 minutes, then you can do 2 of these in an hour. The goal is to keep your attention on the task from a state of flow. I'll link in the description to my flow series to elaborate further if you'd like. What this does is it causes unnecessary force, control, or worry in the mind to be reduced, which then no longer exists in mind during the experience. This then stimulates creative ideas in relation to what you're doing, which you can apply or note them to apply later. Here you are operating from an ideal state of consciousness, your divine center. Second, as you're doing what you're doing, if anything shows up that restricts your flow, I call these flow restrictors. The practice is to not mentally fight it, but rather release it by not giving your attention to it in mind, by simply bringing your attention back to your task from your divine center, which is really simply put, light-hearted focus. This practice is a form of active meditation. Think of the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, for example. Whatever form of distraction that showed up, which was originating from within, no reactive attention was given to those appearances, and then they would disappear. The same is to be said about our experiences each day. Number 3, repeat this and repeat it again. I apply this all day long with whatever area of my life. For example, in relationships. When I'm in the presence of a person, I'm aware of what I'm imagining in relation to what they say, do, verbal, nonverbal communication. This reveals where the conversation is going. This is also a form of deep compassion and emotional intelligence with another person. For further elaboration, I recommend the video I did on the alchemy of love, which I'll link to in the description. So simply put, our awareness of what we are imagining also represents what we're thinking and how we are emotionally relating to what appears with another. This is very powerful for relationships because with each interaction, you can see clearly in your mind's eye how you currently relate to them, how they relate to you, and how you relate to each other and adjust accordingly. This is the acres of diamonds in practice. You automatically see it wherever you are, because wherever you are out here is symbolic to wherever you are in mind, and there's no shame or condemnation in what appears, rather a deep understanding that you have all the power now in this moment to transform obstacles into opportunities by simply imagining them the way it is in relation to your vision, from which the ways and hows of the changes are done for you. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You can say, I acknowledge operating each day from my divine center as my natural way of being, highly and easily aware of my thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to adjust accordingly to bring forth the life that I desire. I notice that this becomes easier each day as I allow myself to be how I truly desire to be, operating from my acres of diamonds state of mind, the ideal state of consciousness through which all that is lovely and wonderful happens automatically for me in mutual harmony with all. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.